We are back this week to finish up our 2021 NFL preview. And I'm telling you right now, if you didn't hear last week's show, what are you even doing? Because we have assembled the most intelligent panel in the sports media world, kids. I want to wish a warm welcome back to everyone on our NFL preview panel. First up, I want to welcome back Daly Dose I-Team President, Big Rob. Rob, you are a regular here on the Dose. In fact, you're going on like 3 straight shows here on the Dose. You are a regular here on the podcast. Rob, thanks for being back again.
Always a pleasure.
Mike from Castle Rock is back again this week. Mike can talk pretty much any sport. We can bring him in for baseball. We could bring him in for NBA. We can bring him in for anything. We could probably bring him in for, I don't know, the Olympics or anything else, but he does enjoy talking some NFL. Mike, thank you so much for stopping back by the Dose again.
I love it. NFL is my passion. That's what I love talking about most. Enjoy it.
Finally, Larry from Centennial is back again this week to enlighten us on the virtues of things like fly fishing and skiing and maybe a dog barking somewhere. Larry, you are back. Welcome back to the Dose. It's good to see you. I see you're already ready for ski season.
Well, you know my passions, and those are what they are: skiing, fishing. I do challenge though, Mike. I'd love to hear about race walking and his take on that.
Well, it's all about the stride. That's all I got.
Can you show us?
I say limited room in here, buddy. Limited room.
Larry, when does ski season actually start? Because it's
all right.
I mean,
so
we're in August
passes,
right now.
Yeah, passes get purchased in October, and a lot of people like to ski by Thanksgiving. I have not skied before Christmas in multiple years, so that kind of gives you the timeline.
Larry, if you're a big ski fan, go like this. Yes, good job. Good job.
I knew you were testing me. Coming off a rotator cuff surgery, baby.
He's got that arm in the air.
Larry, I just have one question. Where is Waldo?
Larry, how's that shoulder rehab going? Is that treating you pretty well?
It's good, yeah. The guy's really doing a number on me on every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Yeah, but everything's going good. He says if I'm not skiing, then either he's doing something wrong or I'm doing something wrong. So I think we're on track.
When I had mine done, I went to my doctor, to my surgeon, and I said, "Hey, am I ever going to be able to throw a baseball 90 miles an hour again?" And he was like, "Could you before?" And I said, "No." He said, "Probably not." But I mean, you have to ask, right? I mean, why would I not ask?
No, I'm with you. Yeah, you just
it worked for that kid in that Disney movie.
Right? That's what I thought. I was like, can't you make it tighter or stronger or faster, something, so I can actually go back? Like I could have a career in MLB that I never knew I could have had. He did nothing in that way for me.
That's right. We could have a Disney movie of our own of some sort or fashion.
It looks like you are in a Disney movie right now.
With all our injuries together and
yes,
whatever.
I understand. Hey, so far,
thanks for asking, Clint.
You are very welcome. I'm just glad to see your arms up above your head. That's a good sign. So far on our NFL preview, we have covered the AFC and the NFC East. We talked about the AFC and the NFC North, and we have made our picks for who would be making the playoffs from each of those divisions. Now we are going to jump into the South and the West, and then we are going to be telling you who is going to be going to the playoffs, who is going to be going to the Super Bowl. We are ready to roll right now. So let's start off this week with the AFC South, which is a little bit young, a little bit inexperienced, could have a couple of bad teams in it, in fact. On the other side, you have to wonder if maybe a better team in this division could inflate their record by feeding on some of those bad teams. So let's start off with the Houston Texans, who might be the biggest dumpster fire in the league. The Texans franchise seems like they've been alienating players. Yeah, see, Mike's got his thing right there. Texans dumpster fire. They've been alienating their players for a while. J.J. Watt is gone. DeAndre Hopkins is gone, and for nothing. Quarterback Deshaun Watson wants to be gone. Unfortunately, he has some pending legal troubles to deal with. It seems that Deshaun may have been asking massage therapists to do some pretty heinous things. I'm just glad. Well, Larry did giggle a little bit when I said the word heinous. The Texans brought in Tyrod Taylor to play just in case, I don't know, Deshaun gets put in NFL jail or real jail. I don't know. Rob, the Houston Texans are an absolute mess. Is there any reason for optimism in Houston right now?
No, none at all. Like you said, I think as far as the NFL goes, this is probably the worst team, worst record by far, and a bad outlook too. I mean, I know last week we talked about the Jets. They're in a full rebuild, but you feel good about it. And Texans are just, falling apart.
Is it ownership? Is that the problem?
I would say so. It's got to be. When you have his, well, with the exception of Watson, but both JJ and DeAndre Hopkins wanting to leave. Anytime star players want to leave, you have to question it, and I think it might be because of ownership.
Yeah, it sure seems like it because everybody wants to get out of there, and it just seems like a complete mess. Even the most diehard Houston Texans fan just doesn't have much to feel good about. I think Houston can be an absolute worst team in the league sort of situation where they are looking at maybe a top draft pick next year, and whoever gets drafted by him isn't going to want to be there. So we'll see how the Texans do. The Jacksonville Jaguars are starting over from ground zero, but they have to feel a little bit good after going 1-15 last year. Urban Meyer is going to try his hand in the NFL, and the Jaguars were able to draft Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Unfortunately, they have already lost newly drafted running back Travis Etienne to a foot injury, but the Jaguars are slowly assembling a little bit of talent. Mike, is Urban Meyer going to have another heart attack when he loses more games before Halloween than he's lost in like the last 10 years?
Maybe.
Possibly.
It's an interesting team. I think, like most football fans, regardless of who your favorite team is, I'm looking forward to seeing Lawrence play.
I'm too.
He's an exciting player. The best prospect since Luck and Elway. It's going to be very interesting to see what he does. He went number 1 overall to a particular team for a very specific reason. They're awful. So not a lot of talent there. Some offensive talent, losing the rookie Etienne is difficult, but Robinson was a great running back last year. So I'm already hearing rumors, or we're hearing rumors, that Meyer's starting to rub some people the wrong way already. So I don't know how long that marriage is going to last. That's going to be an interesting team to watch.
Yeah, it is. And for the first time in probably 5 years or so, if you say the Jacksonville Jaguars are playing whoever on a Thursday night, I might tune in just to see Trevor Lawrence. I might tune in to see if Urban's going to clutch his chest. You don't know what you're going to get, is what I'm saying. The Jacksonville Jaguars might actually be at least interesting to watch, if not very good. And I don't think they're going to be very good, but I think they're improving. It's going to be, can Urban keep that team together? And how challenged is he going to be losing a lot of games? Because he is going to lose games, and it is going to be rough, at least for a little while. Moving on, the Indianapolis Colts have started to overcome that surprise retirement of quarterback Andrew Luck a few years ago. They've built a pretty good offensive line. They have an improving defense. Unfortunately, the Colts are still trying to find a quarterback. Phillip Rivers gave it a go last year, but he can't throw the football anymore. So this year, the Colts went and traded for Carson Wentz from the Eagles, but he has a foot injury. And so does offensive guard Quentin Nelson. And they say it's the same foot injury. And they say it could be anywhere from 5 to 12 weeks. I don't know who the trainer is for the Colts, but they're not real precise. So the Colts are going to go with Jacob Eason, the kid who has never started a regular season game, and they're going to try to survive until Wentz and Nelson come back. Larry, can the Colts hold on until Wentz and Nelson come back? And if Wentz does come back, can he even win the starting job, or is Eason going to be better than him anyways?
Yeah, no, there's so many questions here.
Yeah.
Like you said, they had a pretty good foundation. But Nelson out of the picture, QB, there's no certainty, there. I don't see them. I just don't see them, they're going to struggle.
You would think that they have to, especially with an unproven guy under center who has never played.
And I don't know where they're going to get production, right? QB or wide receiver or running back or, anything else. So yeah, no, I don't.
Anybody like the Colts to get into the playoffs, sir?
I have them missing the playoffs. They lost a close one to Buffalo last year.
Yeah.
But as old and unremarkable as he was, Philip Rivers was a decent quarterback. You can't trust Wentz, whether he misses 5 or 10 or whatever games. It's almost even odds he gets injured again throughout the year. I just don't trust the quarterback situation. Missing, Nelson, the best offensive guard in football, is big. They got a very good running back. He finished 3rd in the NFL last year. Jonathan Taylor, but like Larry said, there's just not enough there. The quarterback is too big of a question mark.
Rob, how are you looking at the Colts? The Colts playoff team?
No, I've got them missing it again.
Okay. Just
like you guys said, the quarterback is the problem, and I don't even think they have someone serviceable, that can just hang in there. It's, definitely below average at quarterback, and that's going to cost them.
Okay. I'm going to sneak the Colts into the playoffs, but I'm taking a flyer on that one, and I'm probably going to end up regretting it. I know. We finish up the AFC South with the only team
I'm writing that down, Clint.
Please do. With the only team in the division to make the playoffs last year, the Tennessee Titans went 11-5 last year. They ended up getting knocked out of the playoffs by the Baltimore Ravens, but make no mistake, Tennessee Titans are the class of this division. They have a sledgehammer of a running back in Derrick Henry. Quarterback Ryan Tannehill is good in what they ask him to do. And the Titans went out and they signed wide receiver Julio Jones to give Tannehill a little bit of help in the passing game. Here is the concern for Tennessee. Their defense isn't very good. The Tennessee defense ranked in the bottom 10 in points allowed, total yards allowed, and passing yards allowed last season. Rob, can Tennessee solve their defensive problems and be a contender in the AFC?
I think so. They tried to restock the secondary in the draft. So they tried to address that concern. They picked up Julio Jones. So I think that offense will be fine. Assuming Derrick Henry can hold up. I think that's the key for them.
Yeah.
That's, he runs hard. He's got a lot of miles on him. But assuming he stays healthy, I think that offense will be fine. And if 1 or 2 of those draft picks can come in and hit, I think they'll be in the mix again.
Derrick Henry is modern day Earl Campbell. It's going to be how long can he last, because you are taking punishment. And I know he is a man running against boys, but my goodness, he takes a beating every single game. Everybody have the Titans in.
Yeah, we're flipping the switch on this one, aren't we? Tennessee was always the defensive kind of stalwart, and they're kind of looking more offensive. So I've got them in.
I got them in winning the division. I actually think Tannehill's a little bit underrated, underappreciated. I think he's a quarterback for that team.
A
run heavy team.
Yeah.
But he can go. His wide receiver crew right now with Brown and Jones. Oh, look out!
Well, and he's a really athletic guy.
Yes.
I mean, you kind of forget he was a wide receiver in college. That dude can get out and run himself. Tannehill might be the perfect fit for that Titans team. If they could shore up that defense, they might be a sneaky team over in the AFC to kind of keep an eye on that could surprise some people. We might be talking about Tennessee come January, maybe even into February. Tennessee could be a little bit sneaky. Next up, we have the NFC South, a division that seems to just surprise us every year with both good and bad. Because think the Atlanta Falcons are going to be terrible this year? Well, they're going to go to the Super Bowl. Sure, they'll give up a 28-3 lead, but they're going to go to the Super Bowl. Think they're going to bounce back the next year? Well, they'll go back to being terrible. Think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be good, but maybe not great? Well, they'll win the Super Bowl. So good luck figuring out this goofy division, because it's really a tough one to figure out every single year. First up, we have the Atlanta Falcons. who are going to try to rebuild without actually rebuilding. Quarterback Matt Ryan is back. The Falcons drafted Florida tight end Kyle Pitts, who could be a superstar. He's that good. Julio Jones is gone. The Falcons defense is terrible. Mike, are the Falcons just trying to kind of polish a turd here? Can the Falcons surprise us and maybe contend for a playoff spot, or they just kind of riding it out and act like they're really going to contend?
I just don't see it. They may be a little better than last year, maybe around the 500 mark ish. Julio Jones, would he play 8 games last year?
Something
9
like
games?
that.
It wasn't that big of a factor last year anyway. Pitts is going to be a stud, I think, and Ridley. I've always been fascinated at how Matt Ryan just isn't a top quarterback.
Right.
Every year, he's had some good years, but it's been a lot of disappointment. You're right, that defense is atrocious. I don't see him sniffing the playoffs.
Do they address their onside kick coverage at all this offseason? Just lobbing that out there. Does anyone have Atlanta getting into the playoffs?
No,
not even close, do we? Okay, let's move on to another team that might not make the playoffs, because the Carolina Panthers are going all in on quarterback Sam Darnold. They think that Darnold can get them back to being competitive. Now, the Panthers are hoping Darnold, with head coach Matt Rule, with running back Christian McCaffrey, maybe they can improve the Panthers' offense enough to overcome their defense, which is also not very good. Larry, the Panthers have gone 5-11 2 years in a row now. Are they going to make it 3 years in a row now, 5-11?
Yeah, they will. They will. Yeah. I really don't know that there's much, to talk about here.
Right.
In this division and what they have going on. They're not going anywhere.
Does anyone believe in Sam Darnold as a starting quarterback in the NFL?
No.
We've got 3. I guess we've got 4 no's. I'll shake my head too. How much, because we are all in Colorado, we all got to see Christian McCaffrey as a high school kid. I mean, it's hard not to cheer for Christian McCaffrey, and yet he's not a very big guy. Are we starting to see the beginning of the end with the injury thing? Because how much punishment can you take? We talked about Derrick Henry is going to have a hard time holding up. How is Christian McCaffrey? Like, how much longer can he hold up?
Well, he's not your bruiser like Henry is. He takes a lot of swing passes and screens and things like that. Life in the NFL as a running back is a short proposition anyway. So
it's brutal.
I don't know. It's interesting that, and I know we haven't got to New Orleans yet, but 2 of the top running backs in the NFL are on dreadful teams right now.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting.
I like McCaffrey. I think he's got stand power. I think he's solid. He's a stout guy. He's not like Philip Lindsay, who I think is a smaller guy.
Yeah, you might be right there.
And so I don't know. I mean, if you use him the right way, right, he's going to be productive and he's going to be great. But if you have to rely on him as your go-to, then you're going to have problems. And I think that's what Carolina is kind of finding themselves in that position, right? They don't have a great passing game. So McCaffrey is the go-to, and he's going to get beat up.
Yeah, and he may get beat up again this year. That's my worry for him, because I don't know if Sam Darnold is that guy. He is a guy that got sacked way too often, way too early. And if you're looking for that kind of situation of maybe a team went to a young guy too soon, Sam Darnold might be that guy, and he might be broken and he might not be coming back. Speaking of those New Orleans Saints that Mike just brought up, the New Orleans Saints went 12-4. They won the NFC South a year ago. They lost in the playoffs to Tampa, and things might be a little bit weird this year because quarterback Drew Brees has retired. So Jameis Winston is going to be taking over. We also know wide receiver Michael Thomas. I don't know what's going on there. Something's going on there. He hates his team. I don't know why. There seems to be some sort of disparity there. I don't know what the deal is. My question for the Saints is, as always, will they have a defense? Because when that defense is good, the Saints are good. When it's not, they aren't. We know what to expect from Jameis. the unexpected. We have no idea what he's going to do. He looks good. He says the right things. He really does the right things. Rob, can Jameis keep the Saints in contention and get them into the playoffs?
I think they will sneak in there.
Okay.
Like you mentioned with Jameis, 30 for 30 guy, 30 TDs, 30 interceptions. Definitely more entertaining.
And half of those went for pick sixes.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, way more entertaining. Peyton's still there, Sean Payton. So that's a good coach. Kamara. So I think they'll be in the mix. Not enough to take it all, but I think they'll sneak in the playoffs.
Yeah, if their defense could do anything, they could be a contender. You just, like you said, Jameis is just so flaky. And he has all the tools. Big arm, big, strong guy, says the right things, and then goes out and throws it to the wrong team in crunch time. We have enough of a sample size. That's who he is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we're not guessing. We're not going, well, we just haven't seen him enough. I mean, he's played a lot.
Yeah. My opinion is that he could go out there and be some resemblance of Patrick Mahomes.
Okay.
He could do that.
He could. Sure.
He could do that.
He could.
But he could also be the opposite. And so you don't know what you're going to get. And
he's goofy.
That's the problem. He's good enough, I think. He's a good quarterback, but
Well, and what's going on with Michael Thomas? Why does he not seem to want to play? Something's weird there, because he didn't want to play last year. And I don't know what's going on there. And I know they're talking about maybe him and Peyton have some sort of an issue. I don't know what it is, but they better figure it out, because he's a really talented player, and they're going to suffer if he is not on the field. We reach our final team in the NFC South. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are the defending Super Bowl champions. And hey, they are loaded for a repeat performance. Not only are Tom Brady and all other 21 starters from last year back, they also get tight end OJ Howard back too. The defense is young. It's really good. Tom Brady keeps winning year after year after year. Mike, can the Tampa Bay Buccaneers be the first team since 2004 to repeat as Super Bowl champions?
Can they? Absolutely, they can. You just laid out the roadmap. They literally have the same team. There's some people say if you're not going forward, you're going backwards. But the talent on that team, we did our midseason NFL special last year. Yeah, and they were just starting to click.
Yeah, they weren't quite there.
I think Tampa Bay was one game over 500 maybe at that time, and you just had that feeling. And Brady started clicking, and he was just in there, and there's no change. And he played last year with a busted up knee. It's unbelievable how he is continuing to do that. And in that defense, Patrick Mahomes ran for like 3/4 of a mile in that Super Bowl. It was unbelievable what they did to him. So. Yeah, they can absolutely make it back to the Super Bowl.
Tampa's going to be really, really tough on unless they have a major injury. And like I'm talking about probably Tom Brady, they're going to be right there. We'll see if they're able to finish it off. But Tampa's going to be really, really tough coming down the stretch again. You just have to wonder, how long can Brady do this? I know we're just going, well, he just does. But at some point, like, he has to get older, doesn't he? At some point, we have to start seeing him fall apart a little bit. All right. We are going to move to a division that is near and dear to, well, I guess 3 of our hearts. I am talking about the AFC West, which has represented the AFC in the Super Bowl 4 of the last 8 years. I want to point that out. And I'll tell you, they're going to be in contention to send a team to the Super Bowl in LA again this year. So let's jump into this AFC West. And first up, we have our Denver Broncos, who since winning Super Bowl 50 have compiled a record of 32-48. But the Broncos are compiling a little bit of talent. The defense is returning to being a pretty solid group. The wide receivers, the running backs, the tight ends are pretty good. The offensive line is getting better. There's just one problem. The Broncos still don't really have a true quarterback. Drew Lock can't stop dropping the ball. Teddy Bridgewater has won the job in Denver. He has been named the starter for opening day. We will see if check down Teddy Two Glove can lead the Broncos back. Larry, going to talk a little bit about the Broncos. We're going to do some self-indulgence here. Who do you blame for the Broncos' struggles over these past, 4 or 5 years now?
Oh, John Elway. He's been in charge. He's, evaluated and drafted the talent that we currently have. Recently, I think that, I don't know. I don't know about our head coach.
Yeah.
I don't know about, I think we have a lot of great talent, but I don't know if we have a leader, right? I think George Payton is, I'm having some confidence in that he might be the guy. But I don't know if Fangio is the best head coach. He's a defensive guy. I mean, you have to score, 26 points plus if you're going to win NFL games, and Fangio hasn't been able to do that.
Now, should that be put on Fangio if he doesn't have a quarterback?
Well, he's the guy that hired the offensive coordinator, and he's the guy who picked the quarterback. So figure it out.
He's not the guy who signed the quarterback. You just pointed out that was John Elway. So how do we put that on Fangio then?
Well, so good point. But Peyton has been in his job for a year, right?
Yeah, something like that. When did he get? He came on to the end of last year.
Yeah. Well, I think so. And I guess my point is that he's the guy in charge. If you have to model your team to what you want to do, and if you need to score 26 points or more, then you got to figure it out. And we haven't been able to do that up until now. So
how are you feeling? You got the Broncos making the playoffs or not making the playoffs this year?
No, I don't have them making the playoffs. I don't think we're better than the Chargers. I know we're not better than KC, and okay. I don't know that we're better than Vegas.
Yeah.
To be quite honest with you, I know we have a great defense. I think my peers here would agree with me, but I don't know if we can put it all together.
Yeah. Mike, do you have the Broncos as a playoff team?
I do not. I have them improving over last year's record, but have them finishing third in the division. To your point about do we have the right coach? I don't know. Even last year there were so many instances where he would either act like it was his first game coaching, or hesitate and not make the right call, or not call a timeout when it should. I mean, elementary stuff. Maybe it'll click this year. I don't know. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater will, with the most talent he's ever had around him, return to his form before he, almost died with the Vikings.
Right.
That would be nice. I don't know. But no, I do not have him making the playoffs.
Rob, you're the lone objective person here. And I hate to spend too much time on our Denver Broncos, but we are here in Colorado, so we'll do that. As the objective party in the room, how do you view the Denver Broncos? Is this a playoff team? Is this not a playoff team?
I think they'll be better. Teddy Two Glove, I think that was the right choice for quarterback. It's a guy, he's not going to lose you the game. He'll do what's expected. It's a good defense. And like you mentioned, there are still coaching questions and just like an overall, I think, leadership void on the Broncos. Like, who's the guy on the Broncos? I mean, maybe Von Miller, but there's just not real, I just don't feel like as the team just has like a real go-to guy yet. And like I said, no real identity. And like I said, some of that's on the coach. Some of it is on, just the players in general. Like I said, Von is the only real guy, but he doesn't seem more of like a lead by example as far as his play. But yeah, I think they'll be better. I think they're going in the right direction, but not making the playoffs.
Well, and I almost think it's going to have to fall to Teddy to be a little bit of that leader. If you're going to be the guy, if you're going to be the quarterback, I don't know that Teddy's the most vocal guy, but you're going to have to step up and be kind of that leader, and you're going to have to lead your team. I do think they made the right decision with Teddy Bridgewater, because as much as I keep hearing about Drew Lock has the higher ceiling, Drew Lock has the bigger arm, I don't care. I've never seen 1 ounce of ceiling from that guy. His ceiling seems to be dropping back and dropping the ball on the ground. So I don't want to hear about Drew Lock's amazing ceiling and his big arm, because we heard that for years about Jay Cutler too. And I don't care. He never won anything here in Denver. So Teddy, to me, makes obvious sense. And I asked Mike and Larry this last night. If you are a defensive player on that team, who do you want to be your starter? It's not even close. I don't want to be out there on a short field. I don't want to be out there to defend a first and goal because Drew Lock dropped the ball again. So again, we can hear about the big arm and the amazing ceiling. I have yet to see 1 ounce of ceiling from Drew Lock. I think he's just another Elway bust. I have no proof that he can do anything other than that. Okay.
I agree, Clint. It's one of those deals where you have to have a balanced team, right? And if your quarterback, if you put all your money in your quarterback and you don't have anything else, then you're probably not going to be successful. If you have a well-balanced team, then you probably will be successful. And I think that's where the Broncos kind of lie. They have a great defense. They have a great, they have a lot of offensive talent, and they have an average quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You can win with that philosophy.
You can't turn the ball over, and your defense has to be really, really as good as advertised and be really good. If you do that, then you can at least be in the hunt for it.
That's right.
Yeah. We'll see if Denver can actually do that. The Kansas City Chiefs have now gone to back-to-back Super Bowls. They've got some issues to fix. For one, teams losing Super Bowls historically don't do very well. It just seems to kind of crush your franchise for a little while. That is just historic. 2, the Chiefs are trying to completely rebuild that offensive line. They grabbed Orlando Brown Jr., Joe Thuney, and Kyle Long, and those are some really talented players, and yet they haven't played together. That's going to take some time to develop. One other concern, Patrick Mahomes' contract is getting ready to kick in. When it does, they are going to lose some talent. Mike, can the Chiefs go to their 3rd Super Bowl in a row this year?
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes, you said it right there. I mean, like you just mentioned, his contract is about to accelerate. Their window's closing, but absolutely. As a matter of fact, when they lost the last Super Bowl, I think I told you, I said, if they somehow would have won that, I think they had a shot at 3 in a row, which nobody's ever done. So yeah, they can absolutely get back there. The talent, the off script things that you can't defend, in improving defense. It's a quarterback like Mahomes can survive a few weeks of the offensive line getting to know each other.
I've got a concern for Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going to say it, and everybody can say I'm crazy. I'm just going to throw this out there. In the Super Bowl, if you go back and you watch the tape of Patrick Mahomes, we know he has done some things where he'll kind of go off script. He'll kind of do things that you would never teach a quarterback to do, but he gets away with doing it. He's looking one way and throwing the other way. He's throwing across his body. He's throwing off of one foot, and he's gotten away with those things. He didn't get away with those in the Super Bowl. And maybe that was just one game. Or maybe teams are catching up a little bit with Patrick Mahomes. Here's the only concern I have for him. If he has an injury where he is not 100%, you're going to have some problems real fast with Patrick Mahomes. So I know we're kind of penciling him in. Well, he's probably going to win 10 Super Bowls, maybe 15 if things break right. I'm telling you right now, I saw some things in the Super Bowl, if I were a Chiefs fan, would concern me a little bit, because he tried to do some of those things and Tampa said, you're not doing that against us. That crap ain't going to work today. That would concern me a little bit, because he's kind of gotten into some bad habits and he has so much talent around him. He's been able to get away with some of that stuff. We'll see if the Chiefs can do that.
But how many teams have Tampa Bay's defense?
Well, that's just it.
They can put him
you're
under
exactly
that
right.
There's
yep.
There's a very few amount. So
well, you're gonna have.
I will say, Clint, I agree with you. I'm of the school of thought that, I think Patrick Mahomes has kind of gotten lucky, for some time. He's obviously athletic, talented, can make all those kind of plays, but some of those plays, they're kind of on the other edge. Those aren't commonplace, and he's not going to be able to do that all the time.
Yeah. Well, and he came into a perfect situation. You're talking about lucky. You come into the perfect situation with a really, really talented team around him, and Andy Reid calling the shots does help him. Perfect guy for the right spot in the exact perfect situation for sure. And I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes is going to fall off a cliff. I'm saying I saw some things in that Super Bowl that concerned me a little bit. He's gotten into some bad habits that probably need to be shored up, or else he may struggle a little bit. The Las Vegas Raiders keep starting off seasons strong. Think about this. In each of the past 2 seasons, the Raiders were kind of ready to make a playoff run. They were riding a 3-game win streak into November, and yet both years the Raiders collapsed from that point forward. They went 2-5 last year in the second half. They went 1-5 the previous year in the last half of the season. The once powerful offensive line has now been completely reshuffled. Now the Raiders are in their 3rd year with John Gruden and Mike Mayock running things. Rob, is this relationship with Las Vegas, is this working? Is this Gruden, Mayock, Raiders situation? Is this working, or are we seeing the beginning of the end with the Raiders here?
I'm going to say beginning of the end. I'm not convinced Gruden is the guy. They've got talent there. I know they've been trying to reshuffle and kind of fix the team, fix the team the way that he wants. But I'm not sure if his vision is the one. Like I said, I'm not convinced. They have the talent. Las Vegas is happy to have them. So there's just, a certain level of excitement there. But when you really get down to it, long term, I don't think so.
Well, and Derek Carr is a guy that doesn't like pressure. And we really saw his game change when he had that broken leg a few years ago. Now you're shuffling this offensive line around. You're telling me he's going to be more confident back there in the pocket? I have my doubts about that. I'm not sure that John Gruden, aside from apparently having the same barber as the owner, I'm not sure that John Gruden has really proven he is a guy that can revive this franchise. And so you both get your hair cut with an axe. That's great, but it doesn't win you any games on Sunday. And you do wonder, is John Gruden's seat a little bit hot, Mike?
It might be. The only problem is, didn't they sign him to a 10-year contract?
Yes.
What's that buyout look like?
I don't know. A lot.
That was so Raider-esque to do that.
Yes, it was.
We're sorry we let you go earlier, and then you kicked us in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So come back and we'll pay you for 10 years. It just makes no sense. I might disagree with Rob a little bit. I don't think they've got an awful lot of talent where it counts. The defense is terrible. Their first round picks have been questionable at best lately. I don't know. I've got them keeping the Broncos out of the basement.
Yeah, the running back and the tight end are both very, very good.
Oh, yes.
Outside of that, maybe a wide receiver. They've got some issues that they've got to shore up. And it's so funny. They were so quick to deal Khalil Mack. And now we've heard they're like, hey, Khalil, would you want to come back at all? Like jilted lover syndrome going on with the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they could have a rough year this year. I don't think they have figured things out by any stretch. We finish off the AFC West with the Los Angeles Chargers, who do seem to have finally found their franchise quarterback. Last season, rookie Justin Herbert throws for 31 touchdowns. He looks every bit like the guy of the future. But the Chargers went just 7-9, and after the season, they fired their head coach, Anthony Lynn, and his staff. Okay, great. But that staff did have Herbert playing really well. Now, new head coach Brandon Staley takes over a pretty talented team. They just don't know how to win. Larry, can Brandon Staley be the guy to get this snake-bitten franchise back to winning more games?
they have an opportunity. He has an opportunity.
Yeah.
He's in the AFC West, right? So, and he's got talent. He's got I think Herbert is a pretty good quarterback.
Sure looks like it.
What we saw. Yeah. So I would say yes. But come on. What do I know? I don't know if they I don't know if they can pull it all together and if they've drafted well and all that kind of stuff. So and you're dealing with KC. So if that's what everybody is trying to overcome, no, they're not gonna get there. But I think they're second best team in the division.
They sure should be. And biggest concern I have is it's hard to get players out of the habit of finding ways to lose. That's what Brandon Staley and his staff had ahead of them. How do you break these habits? Because you could see even last year, the Chargers get in a situation where they should win this game. And yet I know full well they're going to lose this game. They're going to find a way to lose this game. It's just what they do. Brandon Staley is going to have his work cut out for him because you've got to change the way people think. And that is going to be a little bit difficult. Well, who has the Chargers?
Maybe moving from San Diego will help.
Maybe so. Maybe just going to LA will help. Who has the Chargers getting in?
I actually have them as a wild card, and here's why. This is the first off season in how many decades that they haven't lost a franchise player for the year.
That's true.
That is the most snake bit team.
I'm going to say
injuries to key players that I've seen in forever.
True. I'm going to say they haven't.
I think they make a wild card.
They haven't lost a player yet.
True.
Yeah. No, you're right though. They have a ton of talent. They really should be there. Everybody have the Chargers getting into the playoffs? I've got them getting in as a wild card. You don't have them getting in?
No.
Okay. Let's move on to the NFC West, which is our final conference. And you can make a case. It might be the strongest division in the NFL. It's right there in the hunt. I can legitimately see all four of these teams making the playoffs if things kind of break right. The NFC West should be highly competitive, though. And first up are the Arizona Cardinals, who started off the season so strong last year. They were 5-2, and then they finished like the Cardinals do. They went just 3-6 down the second half of the season. The Cardinals, though, have made some big moves to beef up their roster. Here's the only concern I have. They invested money in old guys. Defensive lineman J.J. Watt, center Rodney Hudson, and wide receiver A.J. Green, all talented in their day, but all are 32 years old. If Arizona can stay healthy, though, the Cardinals could cause some serious problems for opponents. Mike, can the Cardinals win some games this year and save head coach Cliff Kingsbury? Because I think he might be on a hot seat down there.
Well, he might be. I don't know. You have the exciting young quarterback coming in same time with the coach. So you may want to give him one more year. I don't know. Kyler Murray is definitely fun to watch.
Really fun.
They're pretty young on offense.
Yes.
We've got some pretty good talent there. Defense is okay. J.J. Watt, who knows if he can play a full season? I don't know, especially now that it's 17 games.
Yeah.
I don't know. They may be able to improve a little bit on last year. I've actually got them missing the playoffs.
Yeah, I do too. I have them just missing it. And they were a team I tried to talk myself into putting in the playoffs. Rob, is there any truth to the rumor that maybe teams are figuring out Kyler Murray's only like 5'6" and they're just knocking everything down? Because he really struggled down the second half of the season. And it made me wonder if teams got a read on him.
I think so. That's part of it. And I'm not a Kingsbury guy myself. I don't think he's the guy. So kind of that goes in hand down the stretch. I just don't think that's the coach for this team. I like the talent there. But yeah, I think he's gone after this year.
Rob is a West Virginia guy, so he's bringing in some Big 12 bias. I understand it. It just he's watched Cliff Kingsbury be like an idiot down in Lubbock for years, so it's no big deal for him to call out Cliff on this job in Arizona. Let's move forward. The Los Angeles Rams are putting all of their chips into the middle of the table after finishing 10-6 last year. They lost to Green Bay in the divisional round of the playoffs, but the Rams have decided they are going all in. They trade quarterback Jared Goff to Detroit for longtime losing quarterback Matthew Stafford. The Rams did also lose running back Cam Akers to an Achilles injury, and they made a trade with New England for Sony Michel to replace Akers. Not sure about that, but their defense is loaded. I would think Matthew Stafford could be interesting. Rob, the Rams are honestly, they're Super Bowl or bust. Can Matthew Stafford win big games though? Because he's never played in a big game before.
I think he can. This is my pick to win the division.
Okay.
Like you said, the defense is good. Stafford is an upgrade from Goff. I mean, I don't know exactly how much he has left, but you got to think, down the stretch, Stafford can make those, some of the plays that Goff couldn't, and he won't have to do a lot because, the defense is good. So, it's not a situation where he has to carry the team. He's just got to be better than Goff. And I think he is. And so I think that's gonna, put him over the top.
Yeah, I do too. I like the Rams here. I think they've got a lot of talent. I worry a little bit about them losing that running back, but I'm fascinated to see what Matthew Stafford does because we haven't seen him play in meaningful football. We don't have any idea what he's going to do. And he's got to be starving to play in a game that actually matters, especially when we get later into the season. He's never, ever done that. I've got the Rams winning the division as well. I think they're going to be tough to beat. But there is a lot of pressure on them because it is Super Bowl or bust with them. We'll see how they handle that pressure. The San Francisco 49ers, they've got some talent. They were just in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, but quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, he didn't look that good last year. The Niners went out and they drafted quarterback Trey Lance to kind of be the guy in waiting. And make no mistake, he's really, really raw, but he's got some serious upside. The Niners also lost both offensive coordinator Matt LaFleur and defensive coordinator Robert Saleh of the New York Jets. Larry, we know Kyle Shanahan, we know him a little bit because we know his dad. He's a pretty good coach, I think. I think we kind of wish we had him here in Denver. Is he good enough to walk this tightrope with Garoppolo and Lance and losing his coordinators and he's got to replace everybody? This can be a playoff team, but is Kyle Shanahan up to this task?
We'll find out.
Yeah.
I think it's super interesting to think about how San Fran is a lot like Denver, right? They don't know who their quarterback is.
Yeah.
Even though we've named Bridgewater as our quarterback, do we really know he's the guy?
Right.
I think San Fran is in the same boat. And do I wish Kyle Shanahan was coaching the Broncos? Yeah, I do. I think he's a better coach than Fangio. I think we should have pulled that trigger. And I think San Fran is going to be a better team this year. But again, just like Denver, everything depends on their quarterback. Yeah. Is it Garoppolo? Is it Lance? You kind of have to figure that out. And if either one of them isn't the guy, then you're going to have problems.
Sure. Yeah. Niners are going to be interesting to watch, and they have the talent. They could really compete in this division, but we've seen it go south on them before. We reach our final team in our NFL divisional preview, and we get to a team that honestly, I don't know what to expect. The Seattle Seahawks went 12-4 last year. They lost to the Los Angeles Rams in the wild card round of the playoffs. But after the season, quarterback Russell Wilson complained he didn't have enough help and that he might even want to be traded. The Seahawks didn't do much to upgrade their roster. And now Russ gets to huddle up with those guys that he basically said sucked. So, Mike, how does Russ look at those teammates in their faces and convince them that he still likes them and he thinks he can win with them? Because they have to be going, dude, you called us out. What are you going to say now?
It depends on each individual's each individual guy's philosophy.
Yeah.
Are you going to take it personal and pout, or are you going to go, yeah, I got room to improve. This is my guy. I got to do better. For Seattle's sake, that's what you got to hope, and that nobody's going to take it personal and cry about it and create a rift in the locker room. I can't imagine, not knowing anything intimate, but I can't imagine Russell not being liked by his guys. I mean, he's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I don't think you're ever out of a game with Russell Wilson as your quarterback.
So exciting. we have not discussed which teams are coming into the playoffs, but let's jump into that right now. Mike, let's just stay with you. If you were going to name your 7 teams on each side, I'm assuming you have that list there. Who are your 7 teams getting in from the AFC? Just to recap real quickly.
AFC, I've got Cleveland, Baltimore, Buffalo, Miami, Kansas City, LA, Tennessee.
Okay. Let's move next to Rob. Rob, who are your 7 teams getting in from the AFC?
AFC, I got Chiefs, Browns, Bills, Ravens, Titans, Steelers, Chargers.
Okay. Larry, you got 7 teams getting in on the AFC side there?
Yeah, I've got Cleveland, I've got Baltimore, I've got Bills, New England, KC, Tennessee.
Who am I missing? You're missing a team. Dolphins. You got Miami getting in. That's right. Okay. Yep. Mike, let me go over my AFC. My AFC, I've got the number 1 seed being the Bills. I've got the Chiefs at 2, the Titans at 3, Ravens at 4. I've got the Browns at 5, the Colts at 6, and the Chargers scraping in at the number 7 spot. Mike, let's switch over to the NFC. Who do you have getting in over on the NFC side?
I've actually got 3 from the West and the Rams, Hawks, and Niners.
Okay.
Tampa Bay, the only one coming out of their division. I don't think there's any question about that.
Okay.
NFC North, Green Bay. I do have Minnesota squeaking in.
Okay.
And I think Washington is the only one to come out of the East.
Gotcha. All right. Rob, who do you have coming out of the NFC side?
I've got Bucks, Rams, Packers, Saints, 49ers, Seahawks, and Washington.
Okay. Larry, what do you got going on the NFC side?
All right. I've got Rams and Seattle. I've got Tampa Bay, and I do have New Orleans.
Okay.
Green Bay, Dallas. That's 7.
That's 6.
Weed is legal in Colorado.
What's that?
Nothing.
Nothing. You're short a team here. Who do you got?
I don't even know another team to pick.
You have to make one up. Just pull one out of the hat.
Arizona.
All right, we'll throw the Cardinals in there. That's a good pick. I had Arizona in, then I talked myself out of them. On the NFC side, I've got the Packers as the 1 seed, the Rams at 2, Buccaneers 3, Washington coming in at 4, Bears, Saints, and 49ers take the wild card spots in the NFC. All right, fellas, we are going to get serious now. Mike, Super Bowl 56 will be held in Inglewood, in basically Los Angeles this year. What 2 teams are going to be going to Super Bowl 56?
1993 and 1994 were the last and only time we had back-to-back Super Bowls with the same participants.
Good call.
It was difficult for me not to go down that road again.
Yes.
I'm going with history, and I just don't think it's going to happen. I've got Rams, Bills.
Rams, Bills going to Super Bowl 56. Oh, man. This is going to get real interesting. Rob, you are up next. Who is going to be playing in Super Bowl 56 this February?
Okay, so AFC final, Chiefs versus Browns, and I got the Chiefs advancing.
Okay.
NFC side, I got the Rams versus the Packers, and the Rams advancing. So Chiefs and Rams is my Super Bowl.
Chiefs and Rams going to the Super Bowl. All right, kids, you better buckle up for this one. Larry, Super Bowl 56 is calling. You can tell us right now, it's like August still, barely into September, but you're going to tell us right now who is going to be in Super Bowl 56.
Hey, look, I agree with a couple of these guys here.
Yeah,
I'm going
good pick so far.
Bills,
Rams. Okay, there's your third one.
Super Bowl.
That would be a good Super Bowl. I'm good with all 3 of these so far. Okay. I have struggled with this. I've gone back and forth with this. I have changed my pick about 3 times just today. I am going to make my pick. And by the way, we will revisit this and we will make fun of everyone who got them wrong. So that's just how this rolls.
It's what we do.
It is what we do. I'm gonna go outside the norm here. Only because I'm gonna change things up. I want to go a little bit different. I'm going to go with. Dang it! You guys took all my picks. Literally, someone has taken every single one of my picks. So now, all right, I'm just gonna go with what I thought to begin with. I am going to pick the Buffalo Bills from the AFC, and they are going to be facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I'm going to say the Bills win it.
Yeah, I
Just
have
to
the Bills winning.
Throw things off. Oh,
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
What are we saying? What are we doing? Where has this gone? Well, hey, it's going to be an interesting season. We talked about it, in the last week's show. I'm just excited to see stadiums back to capacity. I'm excited to see teams getting to perform in front of a crowd. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. I know we're going to have probably all four of us in attendance at some sort of game this year. I'm going to be going to some games this year. I know Rob's going to be going to probably some college games as well. I know Larry and Mike are going to be going to NFL games. You're going to be going to see the Broncos. It's going to be an exciting season, and I can't wait for it. But I just want to say thank you to all three of you for stopping by. I appreciate you coming into the Dose every single time you do it. You contribute to the Dose all the time, but it was fun to do this. We've never done anything like this. We've kind of gotten together in person, but we hadn't done the Zoom thing. So thank you to each one of you. Mike, any departing thoughts as we head into this NFL season?
No, this was fun. I did enjoy this. I like the round robin format like this. I think we need to do a mid-season so we can all laugh at each other's picks.
There, we're putting it on the date. I will contact all three of you. Plan on it. We're going to do that. Rob, you got any departing words of wisdom for us?
No, I'm here for the midseason for sure, and I didn't get to give my Super Bowl pick.
You didn't?
So I got Chiefs versus the Rams.
Oh, you didn't give your winner.
Yeah, my winner. And I got Rams.
Rams coming out on top.
Yeah, Chiefs have trouble again with the defense. Mahomes has trouble with the defense, and so Rams taking it all.
Mike, did you make your pick for who wins it?
I did not.
Who wins it?
I would take the Bills over the Rams in a very entertaining Super Bowl.
So we've got three of us picking the Bills to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Can I change my pick? Somewhere
Raymond is giggling.
He's like, you are picking. We're putting the kibosh on his team. I can tell you that for sure. All right, Larry, do you have any departing words of wisdom for us as we head into the NFL season?
No, just I love hanging out with you guys, and this has been fun. And we still have 2 months left of fly fishing season, and then everybody, get ready for ski season.
I'm counting down the days.
Yeah, I know you are.
I'm counting down the days so I can break my leg.
Hey, listen, if you guys send me your contact info, I'll send you the greatest Royal Coachman fly tying session, and you guys can take it from there. So
that sounded like I understood every individual word that came out of your mouth, but altogether I couldn't make heads or tails of what that just meant. I have no idea what I have no idea what that was. Fellas, thank you so much for joining us for the 2021 NFL preview. You can count on it. We're going to be doing this again at the midseason point, and we're going to look at just how foolish we look. Or maybe we're going to be geniuses. Maybe we're going to be looking back and go, hey, nailed it every single time. Thank you guys for joining us this week on the show, though. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, Clint. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.